So it is now day 114 of our 1000 Dawns, ladies and gentlemen. And a new campaign is kicking off because in order to get to the end of phase two of our phase two of Operation Phosphorericus, it means that realistically it has to come to an end in about 187 days. So, whilst we are here, let me explain how this is all going to come to an end. Because by the end of that period, no matter what happens, if we can go another 187 days sober, it means we'll have gone a full year dry, which I think is spectacular. Well, it's spectacular because it's not the sometimes it's not anywhere near as easy as it sounds, but then again, anyone who knows sort of what my relationship is with this whole sobriety lark may well be aware that I think it's merely just a case of not doing something as opposed to, fighting against it. Maybe it's just trying to, like, it's almost the shrug your shoulders saying no, not really, and then just sort of turning in the other direction. Indifference is the way to describe it. But also at the end of this 187 days, because I have spoken about this previously, is that I want to get promoted at work pretty much before Christmas, which that time frame means will probably be at Christmas time by the time that happens. Now that would be sweet if we could do that. Also in this time period, I need to somehow get about 10,000 videos to be made. Now, you may be, now listen, before you guys look at me and you must say that I think I've finally gone mad. Not quite, because let me tell you exactly why. You remember what I've talked about whenever things sometimes appear difficult, and what's the very first thing you should do when something appears difficult? You have to first automatically assume that the solution to it is nowhere near as difficult as it sounds. And believe you me, this still rings true only a few days later. Because, first of all, 10,000 videos. Okay, so 187 days. What does that work out to, roughly? Almost, just around, let's say, just for the purpose of this, about 100 a day. That still sounds, even by my crew reckoning, a little bit on the tighter side. Even when, I do videos like this on the internet right now, even then, at best, it's around about 9 videos I release a day, not counting the ones I do for TikTok as well. So already I know fine well through my own personal experience and my work ethic, if you like to call it, that it's not particularly that hard really to cough up that amount in such a short space of time. So it's not exactly, it's not back-breaking work, because listen, I've been doing this for coming on 8 years. I know a thing or two about how to make things go a long way at a very little distance. But whilst that is going ahead, let's cut to the other things I need to mention. The first is that in about 2 days, I think it's tomorrow actually, I have a dentist appointment. Because usually the way I do it, because of my dental plan, I have about 2 visits at the dentist a year. Quite modest actually for what I pay for it. Which also means that the next time I'll be going to the dentist will be somewhere round about possibly St. Andrew's Day at the very end of November. Because, well, that also might just fit in very, very nicely with our time frame. And for reasons that will also become incredibly clear, November time is almost the month I'm anticipating more than any other. Those who are very familiar with my relationship with the month of November may already know the reason for this. But for those who aren't quite familiar, well, I'll sort of have to explain it round about when the month comes close, because that's nearly 5 months away. But then, of course, I've just mentioned it right now, an almost impassable barrier. It's almost 5 months away. We are only a week left of May, and that means, well, November will only be 5 months, well, like I said, 5 months away. The point is, it is getting closer and closer. And you may say 5 months, still, you don't need to, like, fraternize with it about that much. The difference, however, is that I think I do need to fraternize a little bit about it, mostly because with everything else that's happened this year, I have to be reminded almost every other time that I am well and truly against the clock. Not only in terms of what I mentioned about trying to get promoted at work, not only in terms of trying to get over 10,000 videos made before the end of 187 days, not only just everything is happening all at once. And it did lead to a very, very interesting problem I did actually have at work last night. Trying to keep up with the pressure of, of work last night on a bank holiday, trying to keep up the pressure of, doing a 10-hour shift doesn't really matter that much, but also the pressure of knowing how much I've got to get made, not only about how much I've got to get prepared, how much I'm trying to keep up, the standard of what I do has to be, significantly raised. Trying to get videos out there in a timely measure, manage to getting enough time for sleep, enough time to, go to the gym, enough time to get as much fresh air as I can, and having enough time for sleep as soon as I get back from doing a long day's night. But one thing you're going to have to keep in mind is that all of these things, including many more, are happening round about exactly the same time, which it sometimes it does prove to be a little bit stressful. And, well, there's just this to be said. There are also other ways of trying to alleviate from stress. Exercise, almost certainly. Going to the gym is almost a prerequisite for my health, as opposed to, actually trying to, build up muscle and stuff like that. Also because I need to do it anyway, because I'm meant to be doing a 2-day, 24-hour cycling charity event this time next month. So that's also one thing I have to absolutely keep one eye on. Then, of course, we run into again, trying to get enough sleep. That's obvious. Then there's trying to get things like, because at some point, literally before we even get to the end of the month, I want to be able to like redecorate my room, because I thought about it a little bit and I'm not entirely sure if I like the idea of like the computer being up against like the window. I kind of preferred it where we're sort of like on that side of the room, and maybe I'll just have like my bed like hard against the wall and have like almost like the computer in the middle of the room, something like that. Well, at least up against like the wall there, and hard against it. Was there literally anything at this stage? I was trying to think to myself, is there anything else I want to mention before we say goodbye for yet another day? Well, there is just this much to be said. If this is what closing out the conclusion of phase 2 of Operation Fast for Ericus is going to be like, well, what do you guys suspect phase 3 is going to be like? Well, phase 3, and I'm not entirely sure if I've really thought that far ahead, I imagine phase 3 is going to be something to the tune of getting promoted again at work, but something probably even crazier than that. But that's still quite a ways away. But meantime, I'll see all of you guys again next time. Thank you.